This week on Let's Fish TV, we're at Gros Savon Lodge in southwest Louisiana. Let me tell you guys, this is an outdoorsman's paradise. From duck hunting, alligator hunts, redfish and trout, and largemouth bass. Today we're going to be targeting largemouth bass, swimming a worm, and throwing a pad perch around lily pads. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Let's Fish TV is on the air right now.
That is a fish. Oh man, look at this.
It's time for the only program that brings you real-time fishing reports from the Southeast region every week.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Woo!
This is Let's Fish.
Welcome to Gros Savon Lodge. I'm your host, Andrew Upshaw, and today we're going to be going after one of my favorite species of fish, and that's largemouth bass. And this lodge is really special. It's built on 80,000 acres. The lodge itself is about 12,000 square foot, and it's just south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Let me tell you guys, this place is an outdoorsman's paradise. You can duck hunt, alligator hunt, catch redfish, trout, and flounder, or go largemouth bass fishing, and that's what we are doing today. We'll also have this week's fishing report from your local region from our insider reporters. In the meantime, I'm gonna get this boat launched, get everything set up, toss it back to the studio for your weekend planning.
Hey everybody, these lunar tables are indicating fair game fish activity for both days this weekend. Peak daytime hours begin at 6:11 Saturday and 6:58 Sunday morning. Prime evening activity will begin around 6:36 on Saturday and 7:23 Sunday night. Depending on your area, the sun will rise around 6:54 and set at 8:05, and evenings will feature a moon that is 38% visible. Stick around, we've got fishing reports from across the area on the way, and I'll return with Bassmaster Elite Angler Stetson Blaylock to answer this week's Ask the Pro question.
Today we're at Gros Savon in South Louisiana, and we're going after largemouth bass, and we've had just a weird weather day. Started out the morning with thunderstorms and rain in every direction that you looked, and now it's high sun, hot, and a little bit of wind. It's really thrown us a curveball throughout the day, but today we're gonna break down for you how to catch bass in the changing conditions. And that, if you watch me on Let's Fish TV, you know that I'm gonna take you to places that are really good, but a lot of times we're dealing with everyday conditions that you at home have to deal with when you're out there on the water. And so today we're gonna break it down, show you how to catch bass here at Gros Savon, and I can promise you one thing, we're gonna have a good time while we do it. Oh yeah, there we go. That's a nice one. Came out there and clobbered that cutter worm. I'm sitting there and looking at a gator over there. And that's one thing you're gonna see at Gros Savon is a lot of gators. Sitting there and looking at a gator, and one just came out there and smacked on it. And God, he's a fat one too. Look at that one, man. Just ate the snot out of this cutter worm. Had him hooked good too. Actually, a few minutes ago, I had a really nice one, kind of like this one, come up there and eat it, and I missed it and hit my cameraman with the worm. And the reality is you're gonna get a bunch of bites here at Gros Savon. I'm gonna get this fish back. Such a healthy bass though. I mean, such a really nice bass. Let's get this fish back and we'll talk a little bit about Gros Savon. Today we're at Gros Savon Lodge. You know, these guys put us up last night in probably one of the nicest lodges I've been in quite some time. 5-star quality, no questions asked. Beyond just the 12,000 square foot lodge, it also had an amazing world-class chef. Probably some of the best food I've had in a long time too. But if it's not just bass fishing that you're after, they have a lot of other things going for them as well. They have alligator hunts, duck hunts, redfish, flounder, and speckled trout. And bass fishing is what we are doing today here on a small little lake. But man, when you're in the middle of the summer and the fishing is tough everywhere you are, a place like this is a gold mine. You know, from what I've been told, this particular lake that we're on is loaded with 3 to 4 pound bass and even has some bigger ones than that. So I'm gonna get back to fishing, hopefully catch a few bass, and talk a little bit more about Gros Savon and the great adventure you're gonna have if you come here.
Hey y'all, this is my favorite part of the show, the Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia Coastal Fishing Report. This segment's brought to you by me, Captain Patrick Garmison with Ugly Fishing. Y'all do me a favor, go to my social media and check it out and like it, follow it. If you need to find me, you go to uglyfishing.com. You can find all our social media links there. Here in the Alabama area, we've been doing a lot of fishing for jacks, bull reds, sharks, big sailcats, big things that like to pull drag. That's what we've been targeting, and a lot of them are falling for topwater. Y'all go find you a school of pogies flipping and go throw you some topwater. I almost guarantee you're gonna get some action in the next few weeks. Kyle Johnson out of Mississippi, he kind of echoes the same conversation. He said that they're finding jacks, bull reds, sharks, that sort of thing, and along the barrier islands, feeding on schools of pogies and mullet. Also finding them around schools of ladyfish. I talked to Marion Harker Road out of Georgia. He said that the big thing over there right now, he said, is slot reds and over slots. He said finger mullets, the hot bait. He said the flounder bite is holding steady. Their water temperature is dropping into the lower 80s, and he anticipates speckled trout bite getting a little bit better, but for right now, he said not much happening. He said also around the Savannah River area, the jacks are plentiful. So all three reports have jacks to report. So if y'all aren't catching jacks and having fun with those drag pulling monsters, you're missing out. Thanks for checking out this report. Keep what you need and leave the rest. God bless, guys.
Golly, it hit the water and he ate it. Oh yeah. I mean, it hit and that thing just unloaded on it. There's no retrieve when it's like that, guys. But once you kind of figure out a little pattern on how these fish are biting, you can catch more of them. There's no doubt. I mean, that's another good one there. That's a really good one there. Let's get a hold of that baby. Oh, there we go. Golly, that's a nice Gros Savon bass. Just fishing that cutter worm, but now granted, we weren't really fishing it right there. We were just casting it, and that's kind of how it is though. Whenever you kind of figure out how to catch these fish with that cutter worm, you're gonna get a lot of bites. That Strike King cutter worm is really a great fish catching machine. Let's get this fish back. So you know, fishing in August and September can be some of the hardest fishing that you deal with all year long. You know, it's definitely one of the tougher times, especially in Louisiana. But when you get to a place like Gros Savon, you have the opportunity to catch not only really nice fish like I just caught, but numbers of fish. You know, I've caught fish all morning long and a lot of really decent fish. And you know, one thing about it is having a good quality bait that you can turn to that is gonna get you a lot of bites. And when I get in a situation, especially in that August, September time frame, I'm gonna turn to a worm that I can get a lot of bites, the numbers of bites on, and that is the cutter worm. You could also come out here with an Ocho, a Strike King Ocho, and get a lot of bites as well. I just like to cover more water, but this cutter worm, this is just the regular size cutter worm. You could actually catch a bunch of fish on the magnum size cutter worm as well. But when it comes to a numbers bait, when it comes to a bait that I can fish efficiently, quickly, and still get the bites, that's when that cutter worm comes to play. Now, fishing the cutter worm, it kind of varies depending on the type of cover that you're dealing with. Right now here at Gros Savon, we're dealing with it super shallow water. When it comes to colors, I keep it pretty basic. When I'm in Louisiana, you can't go wrong with June bug, and that's what we're fishing today, that June bug cutter worm. But I'm gonna get back out there, see if I can catch me some more bass. I know I'm gonna get me a couple more nice ones.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Academy Sports and Outdoors, making it easier than ever to gear up and have fun out there. Visit Mississippi, Wanderers welcome. Power Pole, total boat control. Balls Out, made in the USA. Heavy duty mounts for your fish finders.
Golly, that was so cool. There's a good one. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. Man, these fish just cannot resist a cutter worm. It's definitely one of my favorite ways to fish. Today we're on Gros Savon. It's a small set of lakes that's owned by Gros Savon on the lower end of Louisiana. And it's got a great abundance of really nice bass. And today we're dealing with some really adverse conditions, like most of the time that we're out here fishing. Rain, you know, thunderstorms all popping up around us. But that's what you're gonna deal with late in the summer. But the cool thing about a place like this is it has a great abundance of this size bass. Let's get this fish back real quick. When it comes to fishing that cutter worm, the right equipment is key. This is a 7.2 Signature Series Lew's rod. This is a Team Lew's rod. This is their jig worm rod. This 7.2 heavy action, which is a really big key. And 20-pound line, 20-pound contra fluorocarbon, and a 7:5-to-1 gear ratio reel. This is a Team Lew's custom light. You want a fast gear ratio reel, but not like a burning fast. You don't want one that is 8-to-1, a 9-to-1. You want a 7.5-to-1 is a really good size, and it's the perfect speed for catching up to those real light bites. And today, the way we're actually fishing this worm is you cast it out there, and you're reeling it really slow, which kind of goes opposite of the fast gear ratio. But the deal is a lot of these bites, you're not seeing the bite. You're feeling the bite. You feel the line go slack. You know that fish is on there. Then you have to crank down fast and then set the hook. Having that quick reel is a big important key when fishing that cutter worm, especially reeling it around shallow vegetation. But let's get back out there.
Hey fishing friends, I hope you guys are enjoying today's episode. This is your Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi fishing report, so let's go ahead and let's try to go catch some more bass. So right now in Tennessee, Old Hickory Lake is fishing really good. You guys can go find those bait balls. They're suspended about 50 to 40 feet off those points, and you guys can go catch some really big hybrid bass, sand bass, throwing crankbaits, jerk baits, swim baits. Let's go to Alabama, Smith Lake. Spotted bass fishing, the largemouth fishing is really good right now. You guys can run way up those creeks, run over to the dam. I promise, right before the nighttime or right early in the mornings, you guys run up those creeks, go throw a frog, a buzz bait, and a spinnerbait and flip the laydowns. I promise you'll go catch a bunch of bass doing that. Now let's jump ahead, let's go over to Mississippi. Mississippi Bay Springs is fishing phenomenal. They're catching monster spotted bass out of there. What you guys can go do is just throw a Ned rig, a drop shot, shake your head around the marina. Early mornings, top water is really good around the dam and the barge ties off. When that sun gets hot, they're gonna suspend on the brush on top, and you guys can go throw jerk baits, spinner baits, crank baits. You guys, good luck out there. Stay safe and have fun. Tight lines.
Golly, that was so cool. That fish ate it at the boat. That's one big key about being really stealthy is work your frog to the boat, A. B is not being on your trolling motor the whole time and just kind of easing through those pads and you'll get more bites. And that one literally ate right there. That was awesome. And it wasn't a bad fish either. Just didn't get it as good as I hoped he'd get it. But I mean, when they're 5 foot away from you, it's real easy to set the hook a little bit too fast. And that's what happened there, is I just set the hook a little bit too fast. Didn't that time though. Look at that. Just choked it. God, you can't beat catching fish at Gros Savon on a frog. I mean, not a big fish by any means. I still feel him. There he goes. Oh, that's a good one there. Big key here is keeping constant pressure on your line even when they wrap you up in those pads. And you can, a lot of times, get those fish to just swim off of that. and you catch nice bass like that. I mean, check that out, guys. Ate that pad perch.
Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Lose, Feel the Difference, Mamba Boats, Ride with Pride, Strike King, Tie One On, Glacier Glove, stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades, Fishing Specialties, makers of the premier mount assembly for live sonar.
Super nice bass, catching them one of my favorite ways, throwing that pad perch. Here he comes. Oh, here we go. Oh, man. Whew. God, I saw that one coming, and he destroyed it. Oh, what a nice bass. I mean, you can't even see that Strike King pad perch at all. He ate it so deep. Goodness gracious. Whew. There we go. Golly, check that out, guys. I mean, just absolutely wrecked that pad perch. Today we're here at Gros Savon. It's about 25 miles just south of Lake Charles, and golly, just nice bass here, and some of the most fun fishing that you're ever gonna find, especially this time of year. It has been burning hot all year so far, and we're dealing with pop-up thunderstorms all day. But today is one of those days that you want to be fishing. You want to be fishing when there's a little bit of rain, a little bit of water movement from the wind, and you're going to catch really nice bass like that one. Let's get this fish back real quick. So obviously we've been catching them on the cutter worm all morning long, and it has been just absolute blast catching them on that. But you know, I brought my frog rod for a reason. You know, if you look around us, we got all these giant lily pads, and I couldn't help myself, guys. I know y'all probably wanted to just see the cutter worm, but I just can't help myself but to pick up that Strike King Hack Attack pad perch. You know, this one, it's just a confidence color. It's a green pumpkin with a little bit of orange on the tail. Looks just like a bluegill. But the big key is keeping your mind open this time of year and fishing what's in front of you. I was fishing down the canal, fishing little cuts, catching them on the cutter worm, looked down this canal and saw a big pad field. And it is super duper shallow. And we had to kind of sneak our way up in here with our Motor Guide Tour Pro. And you gotta sneak a little bit when you get in this situation because the water's gin clear in here. And even though we have gotten as far as we can actually get on with our boat, we're still casting shallower. And that's one thing you're gonna notice in this time of year, August, September, is those fish will go dirt shallow, even shallower than you can get your boat a lot of times. And that's what they're doing today. Even on the cutter worm, that one fish that I caught when I cast it up there and it hit the water and it ate it, I mean, that fish was in 6 inches of water. So you gotta pay attention to where those fish are biting your lure and keep presenting it in that particular area. And that's what we're doing here. We're taking this pad perch, we're fishing it in and around these pads. But one thing that is absolutely for certain, you have to pay attention to the cover that's around you. So if I cast my pad perch out there and I see just the slightest ripple, I see a pad move next to it or in and around that area, there's a fish there even if it doesn't bite it on that cast. So you have to keep making a repetitive cast, and a lot of times it will result in a nice bass. And that's what had happened today. And you just can't beat a frog bite, guys. There's just no doubt about it. I got to get another one because my heart's doing this right now. There we go. Nice bass there. Oh, man, what a day it has been on Gros Savon. Wow. Nice bass. Ooh, great fish to end the day on right there. What a place this is. You know, super nice bass, catching them one of my favorite ways, throwing that pad perch. and going through that super thick cover and catching some really nice bass. Let me get this fish back real quick. Guys, I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you get the opportunity, you need to come to Gros Savon. I will be back. This is a place I will be back to. You will see another Let's Fish TV show here in the near future. There's no doubt about it. It's just that good. I can't help but to come back to really awesome fisheries like this. But I'm gonna go load the boat up. I'm gonna get everything set up, and I'm gonna talk to you about how we caught them today here at Gros Savon.
Watch our latest episode or catch up on past episodes on our website at letsfishtv.com. Be sure to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter for new fishing videos every day. And download the free Waypoint TV app to get all the latest episodes every week on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Let's Fish TV is proudly backed by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama. Plan or book your fishing charter at orangebeach.com. Motor Guides Tour Pro with GPS anchor, powered by Passion. Coastline Trailers, built by fishermen for fishermen.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's get right on to your Ask the Pro question for this week. This week, Colton would like to know, who was your favorite pro fisherman growing up and why? For an answer, we asked Bassmaster Elite Angler Stetson Blaylock.
I was kind of surrounded by a lot of pro fishermen from a very young age, and Larry Nixon is still one of my all-time favorite anglers, and he was from the time I was very young, and it's pretty cool. I was able to actually fish a few tournaments with Larry as an amateur when I first started at 15, 16, 17 years old. He's definitely one of my favorite anglers and one that I have learned a ton from.
Thank you so much, Stetson. If you want some help too from one of our wonderful pros, simply go to letsfishtv.com, follow the Ask the Pro link, and you too can submit your very own question.
Here's today's Right Stuff, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
This week on Academy Ride Stuff, I'm going to talk to you about sun protection, and I'm more specifically talking about the Glacier Glove Sun Glove. This glove right here has definitely changed the game for me. You know, no more am I getting those sunburns on the back of my hand. This actually has UPF 50 that will protect your hands, which in my opinion is my greatest investment out there when you're on the water. Today on Gros Savon, I used a two-prong approach to catch my bass. The first thing was my limit getter, the Strike King Cutter Worm in the June bug color. This is the #1 color I've ever found from Louisiana. I don't care if the water's clear or dirty, they always eat June bug here. I was throwing it weightless with a 3/0 worm hook, keeping it pretty basic, reeling it really slow. Even though I had a 7:5-to-1 gear ratio reel, this is a Lew's Custom Light Speed Spool. It's definitely one of my favorite reels. And a 7.2 Lew's Signature Series Mark Rose Jig Worm Rod. Now, when it came to the frog, what I call the frog, it's actually the pad perch. This was the exact one that I was using. This is a green pumpkin perch, but the deal is as you can tell, it's been eaten to death. 50-pound contra braid and the 7:5-to-1 gear ratio Team Lew's Pro TI. This is a reel that I use in all my heavy duty situations. It has a beefed up drag, a beefed up casting and gear ratio. I'm telling you guys, when you're in the slop, when you're in that heavy duty stuff, you gotta get you a good solid reel that will not flex when you reel those fish in. Everything here and more you can see at academy.com. Guys, I really hope y'all learned how to find and catch them today here at Gros Savon. I know I had an absolute blast. I've got a bruise on my ribs and my shoulder hurts from catching all these bass. I can't wait to come back out here and show y'all how to catch them again. Until next time, I'll see you on the water.